Hello, hello. Hi, it's me, Michelle. And today I have the beautiful and amazing Gina Stroll. She is an amazing healer. I'm super excited that we are going to come in here and chat all about healing because that's what we love to talk about. We can talk about it for days and days and days. If you're joining us, please hop in the comments. Let us know that you're here. Say hello. So, Gina, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Hi, everybody. My name is Gina Stroll. I'm an intuitive healer, psychic medium, and spiritual coach. And I get to work with beautiful women like Michelle and I was going to say like y'all for a minute that wanted to come out, but to help people really create their best life and really do their healing work so that they can find their freedom and their joy and their peace in their life. So I do a lot of the same things that Michelle and I really do a lot of the same things. We just kind of go about it a little differently to get there. Yeah. But it's super cool. And I'm excited that I get to be here with you today on your page.
Yes. And so Gina and I are doing a program in a little while. But before we get into all of that good stuff, Gina, I've taken a class with Gina and Gina's taken one of my classes. But, I always love learning new things, right? Mm-hmm. I love learning new things. And I learned all about the ego from Gina because my whole life I learned basically just tell them to shut up. It's fine. Just tell them to be quiet. When in actuality, you can make friends with them and it actually makes your life go a lot easier. And the reason that I bring this up is because so often our ego gets in the way of our healing.
Yeah.
Our ego likes to tell us, no, you're fine. You're fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're like, that's great, but
it's not working.
It's not working. And so, and the reason again that I bring that up is because, you need to sort of figure out that intuitive side of yourself to be able to hear what needs to be healed in your life. And if you allow your ego to just shout from the rooftops all the time and you're running around with your head cut off, that's not actually going to help you. It's not going to be beneficial for you. I don't know, Gina, do you have anything you want to add on to sort of that? Because like I said, it gets in the way of so many things in our lives. And when we can sort of make friends with it, we can move past it and figure out our shit.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because you didn't know what I did. I mean, I taught a class this morning, but it's funny because we talked.
Did you? I didn't know
that. I'm giggling. I'm like, okay, I hear you. I get it. I see it. So yeah, we actually were talking about the excuses that we make for ourselves and how we really let this ego come in and, tell us that it's not right or we shouldn't be doing that or really let that just come in and get in our way when in our actuality, that ego's here to help us to heal. And that's the one thing that I have learned over the years with all my development, with all my processes, this ego is here to help us. I'm like you, I learned early on that we got to kill the ego. You need to just tell her to shut up, put her in the back seat. And I have learned I don't agree with that. And I know in my healing process, when I work with her and bring her up to my next level and allow her to do this healing work with me, she gets a lot quieter and she's not yelling and screaming at me as much. And, I like to think of it like as your kids. And for those of us who are moms, if you ignore your kids, they just get louder. Or if you ignore your kids when they're calling your name, they get louder because it's like, she's not listening to me, and they start yelling. And this is kind of how your ego works. So if you can really, in the class this morning, we brought our ego in. We were talking about abundance and really taking control of our lives and stop letting the excuses get in the way of creating the world that we want. And in the healing work that we did, that's exactly what happened is we brought our ego in, we held her hand, we told her that we're grateful for her and all of her love and her care, but it's time for us to go to this next level and I want to take you with me. So come with me on this journey and let's do this. And I have just found in my healing work that is life-changing for people that I work with, for you that come and do ego class, it really just is a whole new concept, a whole new way of looking at it. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and hi, Delise. It's good to see you. And so often because healing is not fun, it's not comfortable.
Um,
And so we allow ourselves, we kind of will rationalize it and then we'll put a lot more credit to our ego and being like, oh yeah, I believe that one. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Because again, you have to really want to heal, right?
oh,
That's a key, right? Is that, and you and I both work with a lot of women. And as you age, sort of, you kind of stop putting up with bullshit, really. Right? You sort of have a little bit of I'm done with all of this nonsense. And you start to go, how can I improve my life? And that's where I want to change my life. I want to heal. Because again, it's not fun. And because you have to look under the rug. You have to look at all the little dark, dusty places that you've ignored for your whole life, saying it's fine. I'm fine.
I'm
When
fine.
in actuality, you've been using a lot of coping skills that you learned when you were a child.
Yeah.
And it's not serving you as an adult.
I actually call people out when they say, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, for real? This is where we're going? Like,
Right?
I'm like, no. You don't have to be fine anywhere. You don't, but you got to quit making excuses too for why you're here. And that's the part that is uncomfortable because we have to decide, oh my heck, I have to take responsibility for my own life.
Yes.
Yeah, you can blame your family, you can blame your ancestors, you can blame your parents for this shitty job that they did for as long as you want. But until you're ready to go, okay, you know what? I'm a grown ass woman now, and it's time to make some of my own choices and do my own thing and take responsibility for my thoughts and my processes. And this ego really is just all it is a buildup of everything you've thought about yourself over the years, and she just plays that over and over for you to remember this, remember that, remember when you weren't worth anything and those people told you that thing. And it just is this over and over and over record in our head. And when we understand that's not our truth, it changes the whole show and what's happening in our life. But we have to be open to do that. We have to be open to the healing. We have to be open to be uncomfortable, because we really have to sit with those and realize, oh my gosh, you're right. That time when my mom left me and she didn't talk to me for months, and that was about her. It wasn't about me and my self-worth. That was about her healing work that she had to do and the things that she needed to do. But we seem to somehow take responsibility for them because that's what we do. And, make it about us and our worth. But when we can understand that's not our truth anymore, we don't have to stay there. You never had to stay there.
And when you can start taking that power back, right? When you can start going, no, I'm taking responsibility for the choices that I make. And that's a big thing I talk about a lot too. It's like, you're the CEO of your life. Yeah. Are you acting like it? Or are you giving your power away every single day to other people because you're afraid to make a choice or to change? Because it might make someone else uncomfortable. Or you might be judged, or whatever else you may be worried about. But when you can start really reclaiming that power and saying, no, I'm making the choices to move my life forward in the direction that I want it to go, and not somebody else's plan. I'm drawing the map. I'm creating it. Because very often, especially as women, we've been told, well, this is the way you need to go. And you're like, well, but I don't. And we're so afraid to actually say, I don't want that. I don't, that's not on my compass. And then you end up doing it anyways, because often we're all people pleasers and we're just like, oh, well, we don't want anybody to feel that. And well, when you start taking ownership of that and making choices that are right for you and stepping fully into the power, because here's the thing, feminine power is amazing. Men, they think we're weak. No. Feminine power is crazy good stuff. And when you can start to really lean into that space and go, no, I am the boss.
Yep.
But you have to choose that. Or you choose to self-sabotage yourself and procrastinate the whole day.
Absolutely. Well, we both have male and feminine energy inside of it. Yeah. I've heard people say we need to balance that out. And I'm like, oh, hell no. There's times when I need that push and that get her done stuff coming in. And then there's other times when you need to sit back and relax and really let the universe bring things to me. And it's learning when to bring those in and how that
Yeah.
works for you. Like, because it may be different for me than it is for you, depending on where you're at and what you're doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely need that more of that feminine energy coming in, that real nurturing, loving. To me, that's where healing comes in right there.
Yeah.
Um,
And
there's,
understanding how to be compassionate to yourself.
yeah.
Because Lord knows how many things go on in your head
Oh
and
my God.
all day long, and you're just like, and by the end of the day, you've said 100 different things that were terrible about yourself. I could have done that better, and why that was stupid, or whatever it is that you tell yourself all the time.
Yeah.
But then when you can be a little bit more compassionate and give yourself a little more grace and go, okay, you know what? I made a mistake, but you know what else? I can choose to do it a little bit differently
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow or right in this moment,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, bringing in that compassion. Geez, I just can't even talk enough about that. That's what you and I do a lot. How many times, even when you and I meet, because Michelle's my healer.
Same.
And so when we get together, it's like, why are you beating yourself up? Why are you not understanding that, you know what, you're right now in this given moment, you're doing the very best that you know how to do.
Yeah.
We put so much pressure and tension on our body because we can't. We always think there's more. We always think there's something else out there. There's that next big, we're not doing enough. We're not being enough. We're not, you're such a dumbass. You just went out and did. And really, we don't even talk to our animals like that the way we talk to ourselves. We treat other people and other things so much better than we treat yourself. And to me, it's time that's probably one of my biggest missions in this life is to really teach people to, you got to take care of yourself. Amber says, I love that you're each other's healers. Oh yeah, we know all the nitty gritty secrets about
We
each
do know all the secrets. And
It's like,
that's the point too, though, is that just because her and I do this work, because we help teach this work to the people that we serve, doesn't mean that we are not fallible. Like, we're human. And there are moments, dark moments, where we're just like, oh, I have picked up the phone to Gina. It's been a little while, but like there's times where she's on speed dial and I'm like, yeah, hi. Can you fit me in the next day or two? Because I'm on the struggle bus, and I need to get off of it. But here's the beautiful thing about healing is that when you start having the tools to understand where it's coming from and you understand the feeling and you go, you know what, I'm not going to sit and wallow in this for very long. I understand it. I know what the feeling is. I know where it's coming from. And I'm going to go talk to a professional to help me because I know that my ego is just as loud and noisy as everybody else's is. And so sometimes I'm like, I'm not fine. And I know that I can't do the work myself sometimes. Sometimes it's just hard and I need a professional, even though I am a professional.
It's kind of like having kids. And even if you're a nurse, your kids get sick and you're kind of dumb. Like you become dumb. Like you're like, oh my gosh, they're freaking out. They got a fever. It's kind of the same thing with us. Like, we do this work for other people and I can sit here in my chair and go, okay, you know what, Michelle, calm down. We're going to work through all this. Like, but then when it comes to me, I'm like, don't tell me to calm down. Like, because my ego's like, yeah, we do the same thing. Like, and I've called you too and said, hey, I got to get off this. I can't stay here. And that's the difference when you are doing your work. You can start to feel that difference and when things shift and when it's time to release. And you really start to get in this pattern. Your body gets used to being in that healing pattern. You get used to your energy. We kind of look forward, actually.
We do it every month.
Yes, honestly, we're being honest.
It's part of our self-care. To be honest, it's part of our self-care. And for me, and I do healing on myself every morning. Here's the thing. Every morning I wake up, I clear my chakras. I send healing energy throughout my whole body. I do lots of other things during my morning spiritual practice. But even with that, I still go, yes, I'm ready. Come help clear my energy field on the ways that I can't see or that spirits just sort of not telling me in a loud enough voice. Because here's the thing. They're telling me. But whether or not I am actively listening to things about myself, because we're all busy, right? So sometimes
I think Yeah, I think the other part of that, Michelle, is that our ego gets in the way and we don't really want to deal with what's really going on because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Like, I'll tell a story because now I can look back on it and go, okay, you know what, it's fine. But a couple months ago, and my husband would be like, you told them what? Yeah, I'll tell the world here. A couple months ago, my husband and I actually got in a really, and you've known me for a long time, like it doesn't happen very often, but we kind of got in a little tiff because he's been retired this year and he's been adjusting to his new world, and we've been
I was
adjusting.
going to say, you both have been adjusting to
Oh my
this.
gosh, it's been an adjustment. Like, we'll just say that. And I love the man. Like, it's not about whether it's an adjustment having someone home every day. When I was used to, I worked from home. I was by myself all day. I would get my stuff done, and then he would come home, and like I just had a schedule. Like, but anyway, he came home and he was feeling super frustrated, and he was kind of frustrated with me. I mean, honestly, we've been in each other's faces now, for 9 months. He was feeling the frustration too, and he said something to me that like set me in a tizzy, and it triggered the holy living shit out of me. And I thought I was kind of past like that amount of trigger, but he called me a person's name. Now he called me Ellen. Okay. And this person to me has been a pain in my butt for a lot of years. And she was kind of demanding, and I haven't been around her for a long time, but this name to me, I was like, how could you look at me as your wife and call me that person? Because I don't see myself as that person at all. Like, and the reason it started is because we went to the restaurant and I had my nephew with me, and I kind of asked the waitress, no, don't put cheese on it, don't do that. I was kind of particular about what I wanted, and he was like, all right, Ellen, it was like this whole. And anyway, I mean, literally, like, I was ready to pack my bags and leave the house. Like, this is how much of a, like, I did. I left. I got in my car and I left. I never do that. I never walk away from. And it, like, brought out this whole other response of, like, how could he think that about me? And then after I went and drove in my car for about an hour and calmed that ego down, I realized, oh my gosh, you know what? There's parts of all of that I could take as truth for me. But that one part triggered the holy, I mean, it like got me all in a tizzy. And I think you and I did a healing session like not too long after that, because I was like, okay, you know what, there's parts of this that I can take, and there's parts of this I absolutely cannot, but I need to get my ego out of my like yelling at me, and get to the point where I can go, okay, this part's mine, that part's his, he can have that shit, I'll take mine, like that's the part I need to feel.
Stems from too.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty that working with us in any capacity is that we can see where it's actually rooted in. And it's because it didn't just that was a trigger, but that wasn't the root. That was way deeper than just, oh yeah, I had an argument with my husband about blah.
Oh no, that was super deep, and that was all about me. That wasn't even about him, because literally that's the part that we get messed up, because we want to blame them and go, wow, they're such jackasses. It had nothing to do with him and everything to do with me. Like, and I knew that, and I saw that, and I think I even told you that when I was like, okay, I know this is some deep seated. This was childhood issues that got all brought up, like, oh, in a whole big old mushroom that just like.
Yeah.
And after the fact, I was very grateful. Him and I can now talk about it, and he'll say, all right, Ellen, and we laugh about it. Now it's no longer a trigger, but that's because we've done the healing work.
Yeah. Does this any of this resonate with anybody? Like, here, come, like, let us know, because yeah, like there's stuff that people say to me every now and again. I'm just like it's like the record scratching. Like, maybe I'm dating myself because you guys maybe don't even know what records are. But anyways, it's the record. It's just like, and the hackles go off, and you're just like, but that's a trauma response. Mm-hmm. That is fully a trauma response to when you are triggered and you're responding from a place of fear, of feeling attacked,
rejected.
And it's that fight or flight. It's an immediate thing. It's the subconscious. That's the thing. It's a subconscious reaction. And that's where you have to heal, right? Because our subconscious is telling us a lot of things. And so when something comes up, your brain immediately looks through your little filing cabinet to go, have we dealt with something like this before?
Yeah.
And then it goes, okay, if A, then we have to react like B. And in actuality, like that filing cabinet, that file could have been from when you were 5 years old. Guess what? You're an adult. Your brain works differently than it did when it was 5 years old. And you took everything as a truth at that age. Like before the age of 9, your brain is like a sieve and it just accepts everything as a truth. And it goes and gets put in your subconscious into your little filing cabinet. And until you can recognize the trauma, the wounds, all the beliefs that you carry from your childhood and go, I don't need to react like that anymore because I'm an adult. And I know that like, I don't have to come from a response of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And when you can start healing, like inner child wounds, like, and Gina and I, we work through a lot of different kinds of wounds, but inner child wounds are some of the most prevalent ones that we see. Yeah. And once you recognize them, you can start healing them and you can really start moving through and creating greater relationships with the people around you, because then you're going to be actually responding to them in a kind, compassionate, or at least respectful way without having the claws come out. So again, we get like triggered by people and they're just like, oh, and you want to know what? Don't worry about it. Oh, Kim,
don't worry about it.
You know what? For me, it's you don't know what you're talking about. I had an ex-boyfriend say that to me. Obviously, this was like when I was young, but still, like to this day, if someone says that to me, it's like the claws come out. And I've healed a lot of that, but it still bothers me when someone says that. I'm like, who are you to tell me when I don't know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Or I don't know what I'm feeling. Like, oof.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's like an instant, or nothing's wrong. That's what I'm like.
Fine.
Fine. Yeah, fine. All these nice little words that we have wrapped meaning around that really.
We've used it as a coping mechanism. And how we cope and how we can avoid conflict. It's how we can avoid any kind of like, oh, I don't want to start an argument, so I'm just going to say I'm fine. But guess what? When you do that, you give your power away. Here you go. Take my power. You're not being the leader of your life if you're not standing up for yourself, if you're not speaking your truth. Instead of saying I'm fine. And Gina and I, like, again, the work that we do and this class that we're about to launch, this program, I guess, is more of a class than a program, but, we're helping you get to the bottom of all this. We're giving you the tools that you need. And again, whether that be sessions with us or whatever, however you work with us in whatever regard, we help you with all of that and seeing the root. Because again, we channel spirit. We talk to your guides. It's not me. Yes, I'm speaking, but when you work with us, like, no, you get higher truth.
I love that about what we do, because I love that we've learned to do that for ourselves. Like, not everybody, because it's a learning process. It's not being able to let go of that ego part and not judge yourself and really see it for what it is. But I love giving that understanding to other people and to help them see, oh my gosh, remember when, whatever happened when you were 5, sometimes it's as easy. I've actually worked with people who have had things come up from like kindergarten class. And, there was one girl that we think it has to be like these big major traumas. It's not always these big things. She was in kindergarten class, and the teacher, it was the cool day and they were doing art projects all over the floor. And I remember this session like it was yesterday. She said the teacher looked at her and said, please walk around the projects, do not step on him. And she was so excited that she went right through the middle of this kindergarten project thing they were working on and ripped it right in half. And the teacher yelled at her and she got sent to timeout. And she didn't realize the healing, she had curled up in a corner because of that, because now everything was her fault. She wrecks everything that she does. She didn't trust herself to do anything because, so it had caused all these years later, we're still going back to kindergarten, and it's like,
Yeah.
so sometimes we just don't realize that it doesn't have to be, we rationalize sometimes and go, well, the other people have had it worse. What's my problem? And
Well, and working with you, even like you helped me uncover an abandonment, a childhood issue that I didn't even, again, I do inner child work on myself all the time. And yet I didn't see it because I had different lenses on, if that makes sense. Like, because, and it had to do with my father. My father traveled for business, and so he wasn't home as much as I probably would have liked him to when I was a kid. But he's passed on. And so it, like, when people pass on, we tend to only think about all the amazing things that they do and not necessarily all the ways that maybe they wounded us, not intentionally, right? Yeah. Again, my father and I had a great relationship, but she helped me uncover it, and she was like, oh yeah, well, here. And we had to do some major heart healing and recognizing. And then after she brought it up, I could see in the past how I'd sabotaged relationships and a lot of other things in my life, but I couldn't see it with my own lens. I needed someone else to show it to me because I was too close to the issue and I didn't see it as a problem because, again, I had a great relationship with my dad. So I was like, he didn't abandon me. And I'm like, oh, as a 5-year-old, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, we just feel like we're left behind. Why does he always have to leave me? Why does he choose work over me? Why does he choose all of the things? As adults, we get it. We had to make money. That's how we chosen to make money. Like, but as a kid, you're like, why doesn't he want to stay home and play with me? Like, I must not be good enough.
I'm not important enough. Oh, I guess. Yeah. And then, but then it also ramps itself up into becoming a people pleaser. And like, again, like I did everything that he wanted me to do. And not that he asked me to, I just assumed, well, I should probably do this because it'll make him happy. And then maybe he'll stay.
Maybe he'll stay. Maybe I'll be accepted.
I didn't realize all the lines.
We all want to be accepted and loved, and sometimes we give up ourselves, literally. I was just listening to Brene Brown today. She was talking about Brave in the Wilderness, her book, and she was talking about that, how much we give up of ourselves when the price is too high. And, any time that we choose to do something that we don't want to do, anytime we say yes, when the answer is really no, no, hell no, like, we give up that part of ourselves. We give our power away, and really stepping back into that true authentic self to me is, that part of this healing is just yummy. Like, you can start saying yes to you and no to other people. Like,
and setting boundaries and just being like,
so much.
And it's taken me a long time to set clear boundaries, because again, I'm a middle child. And I don't like conflict. I was like always known as the diplomat. I was like, well, because I have 2 brothers, obviously, on either side of me. And it was always like, well, don't fight. I don't want anybody to fight. And so it took me a long time to be like, no, that's, and I put it into full use recently with my ex-husband. And I was just like, you don't respect my time? Peace out. And I'm like, no, if you're not going to like respect me and my time, then I'm not going to stick around and wait for you. So as a good example, anyways. So
my boundaries are pretty firm now too. It's like, and if someone gives me a boundary, you damn well better believe I'm going to hold tight onto that. I didn't used to be that way. I used to be I'll just try and make it work. And now I'm like, oh, hell no, this is the way it is. This is where we're at. This is the line in the sand. Either do or you don't. Like, that's it. We're in or out. It's like, and we get that way when we do our healing work. We just, you were just saying, the older we get, the less bullshit we're really willing to take on. And that's that comes with healing work too. That's really bringing that healing work in. So there's no waffling around. Once you start doing this work, there's no more waffling.
There's no going back. It's sort of like Pandora's box a little bit. Like once you open it, you're like, oh. And, there's no stuffing the toothpaste back in the toothpaste container because, and usually, to be honest, like you don't want to because you can recognize how much better you feel.
Yeah. Energetically. Would you ever want to go back, Michele?
No. No. Like, and looking back, even just 5 years, 6 years, it's like I'm a totally different person. because I recognized and done, as you know, and if you guys missed our conversation yesterday, I shared it on this page, but yesterday we talked all about our healing journeys and how we sort of got to where we are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took a long time for me to sort of meander through and figure myself out. But I'm really glad that I did, because I love like, I didn't really love myself the way I should have for most of my life.
Yep.
And now I'm like, nope, this is who I am. Take it or leave it.
Yep. And we're really less willing to be less than who we are. Like, and to me, that's a beautiful byproduct of doing your healing work and letting go of some of this. Yesterday, we talked about that too. Like, I kept getting that image of like a big cargo airplane and really just like letting all the cargo go. And, of course, they've got, big old, things on them, but, just how light the plane feels after you do that. And that's what healing feels like to me, when you really start stepping in and getting real. And
it just makes me feel centered. Like, and I have a very busy mind. Like, I am a very mental person in general. Like, I've just always been a very sort of mental mathematics kind of person, not actual mathematics, but you get my point. And so for me, like, healing actually just really brings me back into center and grounding, and it feels whole. Like, I feel whole, instead of, because again, when you start overthinking, when you start worrying about things, you leak energy out of all of your upper chakras. I won't get too far down that rabbit hole, but when you start leaking energy, you're disconnected from your human form. And guess what? We're here to live a human life, not out here in the ethers. And so bringing all of that energy back into my body makes such a huge difference. Huge difference.
Staying grounded. Yeah, that's a whole other, we could do a whole class.
We could do a whole
grounded, because in fact, that's what we talked about this morning in my VIP too. We were talking about how when you get all out of whack and you get all these things going on and you're not even grounded, you're not. And I love floating in the ethers, I have to admit, but I have to remind myself, it's like, you got to come back home, Gina. Like, that's for nighttime. Do that at nighttime. During the daytime, in this human lovely experience we're having, we need to be here. So,
yeah,
to me, that's like, I don't know, the best amusement ride ever. But
yes. So, and just to let everybody know that, like, Gina and I we're team teaching an amazing program that starts 2 weeks from now, I think, on the 30th. And it's called the Healing Fast Track. And we are going to be helping all of these amazing people that are in this group with helping to, for them to, giving them the tools that they need in order to heal in so many different ways, and being their sort of guidepost, because guess what? We can see it even if you can't. And really helping to, again, unload the baggage, right? Helping you feel lighter and brighter, and more confident, and finding your center, right? Finding your center.
Yeah. The cool thing that we didn't talk about yesterday is that we get all these cool bonuses that go along with this class. So you not only get us twice a month.
For 4 months.
For 4 months, you get class twice a month. We haven't really set up our schedule yet, but we will as soon as we get our people in place, because we like to let the energy kind of settle and then we do our thing. But there's also lots of cool bonus or cool stuff that goes along with it, the bonuses. And one of them is you get a healing session with either Michele or I. So if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, if you've never had healing or would like an opportunity, here's your chance. Like, it is just part of the deal. It just comes with the class. And so come in.
Yeah, we each have courses that are included. We have our group, our membership groups are included in all of this. But we're going to be diving really deep into how you can make friends with your ego. We're going to be talking about power and intuition, and we're going to cover a lot of different ways you can heal. Because that's the thing, the whole point of the program is to give you tools that you can walk away with, and you have a giant toolbox that you can open up your toolbox and you're like, oh, I don't know, something's happening. All right, let me pull out my toolbox, and so that I can see and heal it and figure it out and let it go, or whatever it is that needs to happen in your life. And with both of us being able to work together, and we each have our own unique gifts. And that's like the beauty of it, is we each see things from a different perspective because we both live different perspectives. Yes. And that allows us to coach you in ways that can really resonate with the people that we work with. Because I may say it one way, Gina may say the same thing in a different way, and you may go, oh, well, the way Gina just explained it, I like that better. Great.
However it works, like however it sinks in. Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be able to do this. Like, to us to be able to come together and do this is amazing. And honestly, there has been a few mountains that have just literally moved out of our way, so that this is just
haven't
fallen into place lately. So I'm really excited about that because it just feels really yummy to me. And I know that those people who are willing, if you are willing to put forth the energy and the work into doing it,
you can change your life by the end of the year. Like 180.
Yeah.
If you're willing to step into
that comes from that, to me, is like, it's huge. It is totally huge. And so, but you have to be willing to put that energy forth, and you have to be willing to dive in and just trust and know. I know for me, looking back, I have taken programs and done things too, just like you have. I know you have too. And those things that I have been willing to take a chance on have literally been life-changing in my life. They have made, I can see it time and time and time again. This is where our guides and our intuition, and they're dropping things in, and you're watching people, and you see, certain things start coming into to light for you that you had never seen before. And a lot of times we blow it off and we make excuses on why we can't or and that's not going to get you where you want to be. We have to dive in. We have to be willing to put the money forth, the energy forth, do whatever it takes to get that help that we need. We don't have to wander alone. Michele and I wandered alone for a long time. Trust me.
And it's not fun. And I say it all the time. It's like when you have someone holding the flashlight for you, saying, here's the path. And here's the thing, like, and if you're watching this, whether it's now or on the replay, like, it's not an accident. Like, or again, but whether that's you work with this program or you work with us in some other capacity, or you work with someone else in that capacity. The point is, though, is that the universe is probably saying it's time for you to do some healing. Like, you didn't fall into this live accidentally. And, but again, like, so whatever capacity, but our program can help you get you there faster, because that's the thing. I spent 5 years, it's been a lot less than that, but like wandering around in the dark. And did I do the healing? Yeah. Could it have happened way faster if I had just said, I'm going to go and work with someone? Yes, it could have. But instead I was like, well, I'll try this, and maybe I'll do this, and well, maybe I'll do that. And over the course of 5 years of wandering through the desert without any water, until you find water and you go, oh my God. So that's the opportunity that we're because we know the struggle, right? Yeah. We know the struggle. Yeah. And the point is like, it doesn't have to be a struggle. No. Is it going to be work? Yeah.
Yes.
But once you understand that you can do it in 4 months and not in 5 years.
Well, and the thing I think too is that getting the tools, because to me, healing is a lifelong thing. So, 4 months is really to help set you up, to help you move forward, to help you be more aware of things that are coming up in your life. Because to me, awareness is key. Most of us go around in a fog. We've been in a fog for months and months and years and can't figure out why the hell we're so depressed and why we feel like shit. Like, when we go to the doctor and we're looking for something, we're looking for that something in our life that just isn't there. And the thing is that it's there. You just have to uncover it. And we uncover it by getting uncomfortable. We uncover it by, and for me, I know that because that's my story, like right there in a nutshell. I mean, I walked around in a fog for a lot of years, and even I still remember when I realized, something just isn't quite right. And I literally did. I went, you go to the doctor and they're like, here, have an antidepressant. You need some Xanax? Great, here's some Xanax. unfog your life. You need to have less stress. Like, it's like, really, what does that even mean? And the thing
Yeah.
is that I realized later, well, for one, there was a whole lot of spiritual awakening that had to happen. And I really did. I woke up to my life and realized, oh my gosh, you know what? I've been connected with spirit all this time. I've had all this anxiety. A lot of the anxiety was over things that I needed to heal, but a lot of it was all about spirit in my life too. And so there were so many things that I needed to wake up to that no doctor was going to fix for me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that so often, again, her and I both work in energy, and we both understand sort of how it affects our physical body.
Yeah.
And, and not to gloss over depression, not to say
No.
that there's not, because there's chemical reasons for it in a lot, but there's also energetic reasons when you feel lousy about your life, when you're hiding away, when you're not being your truth, you're not living your truth. That builds up in your body as resentment and anger and frustration and all these things, and it weighs you down. And until you're ready to like uncover it and feel lighter, that's an amazing sort of gift. I'll give you an example. During my divorce, the last 6 years of my marriage, I was an insomniac. I slept maybe 2 hours a night, and this probably contributed to my divorce as well. However, I just did not sleep. And once a week I would allow myself to take an Ambien to try and catch up, but even that didn't really work. And I got divorced, moved out of my home, moved into a rental house originally. And the first night that I moved out, I slept like a baby without any medication, without anything. And I've slept great since. There's occasional old lady problems, but for the most part, I have not been an insomniac since I left that relationship.
Yeah.
And you think that there's an energetic or a mental or emotional reason behind that? I do.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of look at the same thing. It's just like what I was just saying. Do I think I was depressed? Absolutely. Do I think the doctors were like, this is how we treat depression? Yeah. You are depressed when you're not willing to look at your life and realize, oh my gosh, when we keep shoving it, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, pretty soon you can't carry that load anymore. Your body cannot carry that load. Your body is tired. Yes, it's stressed out because it's got so much extra. If you think about when you add on extra to your workload every week, that's freaking exhausting. You're going to bed early. You're trying to.
Yeah.
Same thing with our mental health. It's the same thing with our emotional health. Like,
hi, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it matters. And again, just because I started sleeping through the night didn't mean that I spent a year solid of doing heavy lifting work because again, relationships are two-way streets, and it was an amicable divorce, but I was like, there's a reason. And I need to heal all of that stuff that I've been carrying around from that relationship and every other relationship that I had before that as well, where I wasn't being true to myself.
Yeah.
And so I had to do the work because nobody else was going to do it. My guides like to say, you know what? We'll give you the Lamborghini. We'll give you the keys. But if you're not willing to take the car out for a ride, it's going to sit in the garage and collect dust.
Yeah.
And it's the horse to the water. It's how many analogies would you like me to give?
Yeah, how many can we? Yeah, I can make horse water, but I can't make it drink. Like it's the whole same thing. It's really just learning. I think if anything that I have learned over my healing journey, you and I have had very different journeys, but a lot of the same emotional baggage. And if I've learned anything, if I could tell anybody anything, it's like you want to feel your best. You have to dive in. You have to feel uncomfortable for a little while. You really this is just part of the process. Yeah. And it's not because you deserve to suffer, and it's not because of any of those things. It's because if you want to get through it, if you think about there's a dark tunnel in the road and on the other side's the light, and you want to get to the light, you have to go through the muck and the dark. And if you're afraid of the dark, that's going to be a little uncomfortable. But if you can have someone that can help you that has been there before, to me, going through the tunnel doesn't seem quite so bad. And I think that's what you and I are really here to do. That's really where I feel that you and I have been guided to do this, is to really help people. We still do the hard work every day. We still dive in and do it. We're right there doing it with you, We're not on a pedestal looking down at you going, come on, you're doing great. It's like we're right in the muck with you.
But we are going to help you, right? We're going to be your cheerleader. We're going to help keep you accountable as well. Like we're going to be like, and not as a drill sergeant, we're just going to be like, hey, you know that there's something going on here, right?
I just did that with my other class today. I'm like, all right, ladies, where everybody's at. How much time have you spent this week in your healing journey? I know summer's busy. Trust me, I know it. I'm counting every last moment of the day. Like, but how much time have you spent on that? Because that's what you have to do. You can't expect it to just fall into your lap without you spending the time and opening up the space for that to happen. So this is an opportunity for that to happen for you.
Yeah. So if you're at all interested, if you have questions, please reach out to one of us. We're happy to answer any questions you have. I posted the link. It's you can go to ginastroll.com/fasttrack. You can also go to radiantlivinghlc.com/fasttrack. Either of them will get you to the same page. But this is an opportunity for you to really kind of step into your life and take ownership and really feel so much better on the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's worked for you and I. Like I know I've watched the changes in you, and just, you and I have known each other for about a year and a half, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool when you sit back and watch people making changes and blossom and grow. To me, that's like the highlight of my whole, I don't know if I want to call it a career, but like what we do here, like literally watching people change and grow, like
it's amazing when people come out of their shell and they just all of a sudden bloom. And it's so like, because again, people that have taken our classes have done work with us. Like it's amazing to watch. Amazing. And it is the best feeling for a teacher, a healer, anyone who's trying to work with others to see them thrive. Because that's the whole mission.
That's what we're here to do. We're here to help others thrive. So,
Well, thank you guys all for watching. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Early bird pricing ends tomorrow, right? Tomorrow night. So if you want in,
come and
grab it because it ends on
questions. If you need anything, please reach out to us.
Yeah.
And it's an honor to be here with you, Michele. So
thank you. Yes, and we'll see you guys all soon. Thank you guys all for watching.
Bye.
Bye.